And welcome back. We're picking up where we left off last time in Humankind. As I promised, the first thing we're going to do in this recording is we're going through the options for cultures for the next era. We're going to go ahead and wait until we've at least got the next science star, basically. Partially because we need the 5 techs before we can realistically do any of the techs we want in the next era. So we've got things we need to do, research-wise. That's going to delay us going to the next turn. Usually, unless you're really rocking it, you don't bother with sticking to your current culture. So we're going to be looking at the other ones. None of them have been picked yet. Although, the person we're fighting actively is at the point where they could pick one. So they may pick one. We could do the Persians. If we wanted to double down on just slamming home the shared projects, that's probably the way we want to go. On the other hand, apparently we have no shared projects to do at the moment. Although this would actually be good for more money as well. So this would be industry money with a nice Mighty Works bonus here on a builder. So if we want to stick to sort of building, also we get a nice gunner unit that can move and shoot. Not bad. Gets given to us on military coordination. Which I think is where... That might actually be earlier than line infantry. So we can take a look. Military coordination. Yes, that is actually earlier. So we'd also be getting... We'd effectively be getting our line infantry 1 tech earlier, which... That might be worth doing, just for war purposes as well. I think this basically just pulls the line infantry 1 tech for our forward. Austro-Hungarians, influence. There's definitely lots of things you can do with influence. That might also help us with just pulling a bunch of wonders, so we can be doing wonder after wonder after wonder. Also, well, that's stability per adjacent district. Although it's also stability per district and territory. So, if we really just wanted to stabilize our nation, get lots of influence, really nice one. The British. Money per science, or money per territory, science per territory. And this is territories on capital. We do have 4 cities. All the territories are spread out across them. They're not all in the capital, so it's not as good as it could be. Okay, yeah, the colonial British aren't going to work for us. French, science in all cities. Science in all cities is nice. We get a research quarter building that provides influence per adjacent district. Not too bad. Germans, iron ordnance, which is buffs to air and sea. Coking works, which is industry per person. Is a maker's quarter, industry per adjacent maker's quarter. Just a really good maker's quarter. If we wanted to stay sort of militarist, that would probably be the way we would go. I think it also gives us an early U-boat, which is an early submarine. Seeing as I don't think we necessarily have, at least for the fights we're doing, we're not necessarily going to be fighting in the water. Not too worried about that. Italians, the Alpini. 5th crosser can cross cliffs. This does require line formations. This is basically just an upgrade to the line infantry. Titaro. Be once per territory. Bunch of influence. Interesting is influence per trader and researcher. As well as some stability. +1 stability on Commons Quarter, or +10 stability on Commons Quarter. +1 influence on Commons Quarter. Commons Quarter is half price. Mexicans. Food. 10% more food. Haciendas, which is a big food building. If we were really doubling down on more food, this would be great. Russians. That is expansionist. Probably not what we want. Multi-move. Can move until all movement points are depleted, ignoring zone of control. So if we were in open terrain and not fighting over islands, that would be probably pretty good for expansionary, but that's not what we're doing. Siamese, +3 industry per district in all cities, +1 money generated from all ongoing trade rates. So if trade was a thing that was happening, this would be good. Gatling elephant. That's very much sort of the upgrade to an existing elephant, although we've realized that our elephants are not allowed to walk into walls, which kind of makes Gatlings less interesting. Floating market. This is a market and maker's quarter. Money per person, 5 industry. Must be placed on coastal waters or lake. Okay, so that's going to limit how many we can get. That's probably a no. Zulu. Militarist. If we wanted to be if we specifically wanted to be fighting, this wouldn't be bad. Counts the garrison, counts as farmer's quarter. +4 combat strength for units in or adjacent to the district. Yeah, not really what we want. So that's a possibility. Actually, very tempted to do that one, because the infantry would be great and Mighty Works would be nice. Austria-Hungary is also very tempting, because one of the things we're struggling with right now is stability. This would be a good source of stability, this would be a good source of influence. Gunner Ultramarine Stealth. We'd have to get Guerrilla Warfare. Although that's something that'd be sort of comparable, right, with these guys. I suspect they're probably later in the year. So we wouldn't be able to make use of them right away. Yeah, this would be nice for stabilizing. The influence would also be really nice for getting shared projects to do, although then we'd be more tempted in the Mighty Works, right? That was a no. I think we can make do without a bunch of science. No on the Germans. Again, lots of influence, lots of stability. I think we'd be leaning more towards the existing choices. Yeah, I think we're gonna go with this. The money per trade, or the money here, I think is gonna be what's gonna make this work, make this pop. Even though it's not actually that much industry, right? It's an industry building that does a lot of industry. But more importantly, it's a money building, and implies swift to any friendly unit located on this district. Which are the ones leaning towards? I'm leaning towards the Persians, partially because one of the ways I think we might catch up to the AI in Fame is shared projects. So getting a cost decrease on shared products means we can get them done quicker. Oh, this is also on all constructibles. Cost decrease. So that's the also tempting reason. So money and industry. It'll actually probably a little bit weaker on industry from a building perspective, but the trait is real strong. Or the other one was Austria-Hungary for all that influence. Because then we'd have the influence to be picking up the wonders that we'd want to build with all the industry we'd have from Persia, sort of like. Yeah, I think we're leaning between these two. If you're watching in Twitch chat and you've got a preference, feel free to put it in the chat. We're not going to be doing that actual choice for a bit, because we need to get the next like 5 techs done. But we'll be back to make that choice in 5 techs.
If trouble comes, 5 market quarters should provide you with a number of pragmatic answers.
Oh, yep, here comes their warships. I think our guys are going to get shot up in the landing grounds at this rate. Okay, we've got our gunners deployed at this point. Oh, apparently we can bring in you. We wouldn't want to siege ballista our own guy, but we can siege ballista them. Twitch asking, what does influence do? Similar to civilization's culture. It kind of does a little bit of that. It's also a currency used to purchase policies and wonders. So the wonders in here, once you elect to have them, you're not competing, you're not like rushing to research, or rushing to build them. Right, so you claim a wonder with influence. And if you claim a wonder with influence, it's yours. You do still probably want to build it reasonably quickly, because you can only have one claimed unbuilt wonder at a time. That's something you spend influence on. The way that it is like culture is it does spread. So if you have enough culture, you do apply, or enough influence, you do apply influence onto your neighbors. And then it can also be in here where it can be spent on policies and civics. The more civics you have, the more expensive it is in influence to pick up new civics. If you want to change your civics, you have to pay influence to remove the old one and then to purchase the new one. So influence is very useful. Doubly so if I'm like, I want all the wonders, need more wonders, because they also do get more expensive the more you have. So the more you have, the more influence you need to get more wonders. Yes, I do want to build more wonders. Wonders are one of the ways in the game to get influence. Or to get more fame. So it's one of the ways to get more victory points, basically. Oh, we have move and fire. So this is like attack then move. It's not attack. Move and attack. It's attack and move. It's not going to be in the position I want them to be. Or is it just a situation where we can't, like, just not be able to blind fire from there? Yeah, okay. That was a line of sight issue, not a whether I moved then shot issue. Okay, I think I did all my shooting. Send it back to them. Good chat saying more fame. Okay, Hungarians for influence. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I love building wonders and love me some fame. Yes. It is always nice to build the wonders. Okay, that's all the shooting for the turn. coming over. Can I get you building a better warship? Let's get me a man of war. You're missing a bunch of the resources, so it's going to take extra time to build. Short on iron, short on gunpowder. Although our industry is grand, so we still build it in a turn. Fundamental values. Make common quarters cheaper or garrisons cheaper? To build. So one pushes us right, one pushes us left. That gives us more influence, emblematic districts. This just stabilizes us more. So probably want commons quarters to be cheaper. We would make a choice. I'm saving up for a particular wonder I want before we move to the next era. Invalids would be nice, but we're not desperate for it. Not necessarily desperate for that. Taj Mahal is just a bunch of fame. Yeah. Okay, so if I don't get one, I'm not going to be crying. Let's go ahead and pick up public happiness.
A bit of flexibility and freedom is
That's going
more
to make
than worth a
every
bit of
emblematic
risk,
district provide
right?
4 more influence. Okay, you're stable at 81, although that's maybe not going to stay for very long. You can get 10 support there, and we'll do that.
With 5 commons quarters, sampling all the city's entertainments can easily lead to penury and perhaps divorce.
Actually, can I... I can solve the issue without building farmers' quarters. Don't do the farmers' quarter. Or I suppose the other alternative is do the farmers' quarter. No, I should probably work on stability instead. You need more food again. Okay. I'd rather be building you, but that's not what we're doing because we need food. And we can move people to food there. Okay. Okay, you're reasonably stable. We probably do want to get some more ports for you. Born or made? Aristocrat or Republic? So Aristocrat gives us combat strength, emblematic unit. Republic gives us combat strength on militia. Okay, so if I want to get the one behind this one, which I may or may not want to do, we can get some glimpses of what might be here behind here. I need to pick Republic, even though I probably think the combat strength implementing unit is probably the stronger one right now. Left is probably stronger than right. Of course, I don't have the influence. We're not making that choice right now. Back to the battle. That's where their boat would spawn in if they reinforced it. They haven't actually deployed it yet, so can't shoot it for whatever reason. Now I can. Okay. And that's the fight for the turn. Got its another militarist star. So we've picked up a militarist star. We're really just hanging around for science stars and maybe some builder stars. Okay. Oh, lost one of the guys at sea. That's not great. That's the end of that one. I'll go one more and then I'll end it in a draw at this rate. Although, at this point, we've tied up a bunch of forces on both sides. Placing your casualties like one every other turn. Although, actually, the bigger units we're building at this point are 2 bomb each. Yeah, I think we might want to get another stack of those. Well, maybe the question is, do we want to get it there? I think the answer, because of how low the population is no. Okay, so we'll build a farmer's quarter. We'll get a bunch of people trying to grow rapidly, see if we can get it to go reliably one a turn at least. We'll get the population back here, and then I think here is where we're going to get this one. Full army group of elephant cannon.
Loose the mainsail.
Screwed up. Use the fact that we can delete one of their guys in the transport boats. Single shot.
That's not possible.
Okay, this is the last attacks coming off of them. Every unit that we have at this point that survives the battle. And this has been a bloody affair. I think from a nutritional standpoint, we're definitely coming off the better. Although coming off better and coming off great are definitely two different things. The battle just simply starts up again. Yeah. Yeah, we can't bring our last reinforcement because actually sitting on top of the reinforcement. Which means they've just tied up a bunch of their troops for a whole nother turn. Well, they do them, I suppose. Yeah, capital-wise, I think we want to get another war fleet going. Oh, and this takes a lot of people to man at wars, dude, but get like 2 of you, and then like 3 of you. Split one of these guys off. Next turn. Yeah, it's growing. Because we'll do that into that. Get some percentile buffs going. Because I don't really need more construction projects there. I need the population just to grow.
Hold your position. Drop the enemy.
Help with stability. And I think we just end the turn here. And yeah, from a war support standpoint, we are beginning to slowly attrit them down, but unless we actually get moving and taking some of the territory, that's going to be a long war. Multiple era long war at this point.
Awaken up.
I think we can get over there pretty quickly. Can we move the naval spawn? Here we go.
On guard, men. Get them on board.
Chartered companies is complete. 10% more money from banks. Plus 2 more per trader. Plus 1 science per population. Like to build all of those.
Hold your position.
Let's see if we can get this guy's back to the shore. We'll go 1 less elephant. Yeah, we'll DQ the last elephant.
On guard.
Materials procurement. How should we secure necessary resources? We can do seize resources, plus 30 war support increase when declaring war on relations, or trade resources, minus 20% resource access required to create wondrous resource deposits. Probably trade resources. Although, again, it's influence that currently we actually arguably have, but probably want... spend someplace else. This left one's actually going to give us a decent amount of influence.
That should help with simplicity and keep things focused, depending, of course, on where you go next.
Okay. Where were we in the techs? We got mercantilism, so 4 more to go. Yeah, these techs aren't going particularly fast at the moment. Although it doesn't look like the people we're fighting are having probably the same sort of problem.
Raise the mainsail.
Eyes on the waves.
Yeah, if we want to keep growing you, we probably need to make more food. Although you've got a lot of buildings to catch up on, so I might just do the buildings. Something like that. Okay, you're now much more stable. We'd like you to be more stable. We'd also like to get the rest of these emblematic districts completed during this era at some point. You want me to override a commons quarter with the location. Don't necessarily agree with that estimation. Especially such a productive commons quarter. Okay, get those 2 built. Then we'll revisit from there.
Make full sail.
Shorten the sails.
Okay, so you're idle, which is fine. Population's recovering, which again is perfectly fine. We don't really need industry. Let's actually do food and science focused here, because we definitely want to try to catch up with science. Construction-wise, that doesn't mean don't build stuff. Grab a harbor over there, okay. Just seeing if we can chase a naval engagement here.
Moving heavy weaponry.
A little worried about these guys embarking and then trying to land. Although if they're fighting in our territory, that's, other than it probably disrupting our industries, it's not too bad.
Raise the mainsail. Reporting for lookout.
Okay, we built our fleet. Bank for 10% more money is not going to be bad. And then +1 science per population is not bad, especially because the population is going to grow quickly here. Well, maybe every other turn. Looks like it's not every 2, but like 2 out of every 3. I think we're going to be expanding the population of the city, which is good. Yeah, so it does look like they've embarked. So we're gonna try to shadow them on our side of the coast. Bring you guys down.
Setting sail.
It's not actually me or bending our fortification there. Let's keep the fortification. And
Position. Watch as ordered.
okay, so if I want another army, it's probably best to raise it specifically from here. So let's grab another. These elephants have been productive. Until we get into the next area and get our next emblematic unit, I think this is going to be our best open terrain unit at least. So we're building that. At the moment, we don't really need pop growth. We're going to want it after they're grown, after the units are trained, but right now we don't need it. Although I need enough food to see doesn't shrink, please. We'll do something like that. Okay. So they haven't landed yet. Oh, pirate the pirates. They did go ahead and land. Okay. Okay, that wasn't particularly polite from a deployment standpoint. Stopping one of our cities from building, which also isn't nice. Although it's only stopping one city, so it could definitely be worse. Okay, so either what I did just there is either really smart or really dumb, because they're either going to shoot at my boats, and I'm going to lose all my guys in the boats. And which is exactly what just happened. Okay. So we got to kill one unit, and that's about what we got. Oh, because our spawn zone was one large, because they caught us on the land side of our coastal fort. Okay, excuse me while I do the same to them, because turnaround's fair play, right? Okay, that's the turn. Not particularly great results for me. Got additional forces standing up over there. We've got additional navy standing up, or moving in. It's reminding I can go into the next air, which is true. They haven't yet, and I still want to do more techs, so we're not going to rush. Oh, I could bring in these obsolete units just to bulk up the land forces a little bit, and get them used, I suppose. So we'll get them heading over to join the fight.
Lose the mainsail.
Okay, if they don't attack us, we'll finish burning it down next turn. That's actually land forces, so that's not going to be particularly good at fighting our naval units anyway. Okay, you are blocked from shooting that direction, so shoot that one. You're not, so shoot there. Okay, in the round. Yeah, they managed to clear the spawn point. Okay. And with that, retake. And Hex for the moment, so we can stop those reinforcements from coming in. You know, the turn we finish burning that down, and then we can actually try to. If these still hang around in this area, we'll hunt them down with the fleet. Or attempt to hunt them down with the fleet.
On guard, Commander.
Okay. Things are what they are. Working through the tech tree. Mercantilism is next. Okay, we successfully ransacked there.
Setting sail. Let them drown.
That's not good. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna be good. Not quite enough on their side to just completely wipe us that turn, but we can wipe ourselves there. There we go, fight's over. we lost the war support. They gained war support, so that wasn't great. So you're now theory completable. And forward garrisons are a little empty. I'm running out of troops. Yeah, but this is not going super well.
Will do.
Well, they haven't started laying siege to any places yet, and the militia is not completely worthless. No, we don't really have the funds to do mass upgrading. Kind of what I'm also running into. Got 16 here. In theory, we could... Another batch of 6 out of here. Let's see how well that goes. Although... Yeah, we'll see how well that goes. Mercantilism... Does access to more industry... Grants trade fair. Yeah, that's one way to get more money. Okay, so their state, they're feeling really bad about their land forces, so they're pulled back into the channel. Why are we deploying way over there? And they've already retreated recently, so they weren't able to retreat again. That's why we're getting this absolute slaughter on forces that probably should not be facing naval forces. Are they bringing in more land forces for a naval battle? That's, not wise. That's at least a warship. That's at least a ship that should be in this fight. This nail gauge is definitely not going the way I want. Could definitely be worse. At this point, we only lost the, I think that, yeah, there goes the first big ship. Although we traded for a big ship, so... Oh, and this, because it's where it is, it might be tying up their island. Their city there.
Awaken alert. Taking the one.
I'm gone.
Reporting for lookout duty.
Yeah, try to get this stuff building as quickly as possible. And then tech-wise, we're still waiting for a bunch of tech. 3 more techs to go. New wonder can be claimed. Which we're going to do. Efficiency level plus 100 money per unit destroyed. Yeah, that'll help fund us. Fund later upgrading, I suppose. Into battle here, we got one ship left. Couple different ways I can handle this. One is I could ignore them to start shooting up all the land units they brought in. At this point is probably what to do. I don't think we're going to beat them in firefight. Although each turn we survive, we get to set one of the land units. They're not going to send me to the bottom. I'm just going to send their land units to the bottom. Okay. Yeah, needless to say, man of war, unfriendly territory. You're building, you're building. You're actually almost built. Which means we're going to be less worried about our coastline soon. Okay. Okay, before we get too carried away, I think we need to put a part break in here, and bring the stream to a close. We're falling even farther behind first place. The war does not go well. Although, I think at this point we probably both farmed max military stars for the current stage, so we got the fame. We're not expecting them to pick up more fame from beating on us. Although they might be earning more money or influence than we are. That's probably what they're doing to get ahead. We're waiting for three more techs. Because we're not necessarily doing it for Aerostars. We're doing it because we need, well, one of those techs we specifically need for the techs that we care about in the next era. So we're going to pick up the next science star. If we build one more building, we'll pick up the next building star, which is a nice amount of fame. So we're looking 650 fame near future. We could even combine that with being a wonder, and it would be 800 fame, which would help to close the gap. That would put us back where we were sort of the beginning of the stream. As far as the war is going,
call the dogs.
They're approaching the point where they don't want to be in this war anymore. And we'll have to know what the war score difference is. Maybe we might be able to negotiate some concessions from them, even though it's mostly been a defensive war. At least the concession will be a bunch of money, I suspect. India? So, not necessarily been the best of wars for us. We're in second. Third, well, fourth is dead. Third is so far behind they're not going to catch up at this point. So it's just a fight between me and the first. Basically between me and Brown. And we're both in Era 4. Both, in theory, could go into Era 5. And I suspect we're both holding off for, like, the same reason. I would not be surprised if the AI's sort of... The AI is not technically doing it because they don't have the tech to go to the next area. They're probably trying to farm a certain number of extra stars before going up. In my case, I'm specifically waiting to be in the right position in the tech tree for that to make sense. Because really, if we could take a quick look at the tech tree here. In the next era, the techs we care about right at the beginning is... Twitch chat has actually said that we should probably... Well, are suggesting that we do Austria-Hungary. If we do Austria-Hungary, our next line infantryman is going to be the line infantry, so we're going to have to go to line formation. If we go Persia, which the other one was suggesting, it would be military coordination, which would be a little bit easier and earlier to get to. Where is guerrilla warfare? There's guerrilla warfare. If we do Austria-Hungary, we get a special unit on guerrilla warfare. I suspect it's actually the upgrade. It's basically an upgrade to the partisans. Is the Austro-Hungarian unique unit. So for that one, we'd be wanting to run through nationalism. I suppose that would actually be an argument if we wanted to tech up sooner, or era up sooner. If we're going Austria-Hungary, we don't need flintlock so early. We can make a dash for guerrilla warfare, because guerrilla warfare is behind nationhood, nationhood's behind encyclopedia. We already have everything for encyclopedia. So I could force encyclopedia, nationhood, guerrilla warfare, although 23 turns for guerrilla warfare at the current tech rate would be tad painful. Although that's not much more expensive than pushing line infantry. And the Austrian unique unit is probably actually going to be better than, well, it's better than the partisans, which is better than the line infantry, so it'd make a decent straight-up replacement for it. And then Era 5 is one of the bigger eras. It's maybe not quite as big as 6. And then... Oh, and 6 is the last one. It's not quite as big as 6. But Era 5 is one of the bigger eras, so we'll be spending a long time in Era 5, which is one reason we're not rushing to get into it. Yeah, the early military tech is either we're going to run for line formation or we're going to run for guerrilla warfare, depending on what civ we're going to pick. Anyhow, Team RB is voting for Hungary. So we might do Austria-Hungary. We'll see how pressured we're feeling when we get humanism done. Humanism is when we get the next science star. And that would be the time we make the decision. Are we going to push Austria-Hungary and then push for guerrilla? Or are we going to do Persia and push for military coordination? Military coordination would be faster. And that's why we do it if we're pressured. If we're pressured and we're like, we need a better soldier now. We can go Persia and go military coordination. Otherwise, we can push for the slightly better Austro-Hungarian one, which is the agents here. So these are 52 attack gunners, all-terrain stealth units. Members of the world's first military intelligence service. So we can go full... And this will probably actually confuse the AI armies. The AI armies probably don't cheat that much with stealth. So we can just be like, yep, we got stealth units. Yep, they're besieging your city. Have fun. And these are better, obviously, than the Persian ones. But the Persian ones come on sooner. Come online sooner. These ones also have slightly stronger range, with a range of 5 and piercing. These guys got stealth and range 4. And all-terrain. Yeah, and definitely we want to do one of these two. We either want to add money to our industry, or we want to run influence. Because one of the things we've been struggling with is, you might notice I haven't really been picking up any aesthetic... Well, I think we picked up a couple aesthetic and merchant stars during the run. But we haven't really been picking up very many of them. At this point in the game, we'd be liking to pick some of these up. Some money or some influence coming in, just because it gives us more fame. And we also need the fame, or need the influence, to grab wonders. So yeah, once we get some of our armies built here, we're going to start building our current wonder we got. Which is Hotel des Invalides, which nicely means that whenever we lose a unit, I think we get plus 100 money... No. On unit, we get plus 1 combat strength per veteran level, so the veteran units will be a little bit better. And if we accidentally lose them in battle, we get money back. We basically get paid for losing units. But yeah, this is where we're going to bring this stream to close. You're watching on YouTube. There will probably be a part up tomorrow. As I'm going to check the schedule, I am noticing a Twitch ad is about to pop up, so I'll probably repeat this again for Twitch after I finish the outro. The upcoming Twitch schedule today was Humankind on Civ difficulty, Civilization difficulty. Tomorrow will be Shadow Empire. Possibly, if Shadow Empire goes well, that'll be the last part of that Shadow Empire run, or last stream of that Shadow Empire run. Of course, it could go like this one is, and we have a grinding war where we're fighting back and forth over a few tiles. In which case, it won't end tomorrow. But Shadow Empire is tomorrow. We're going to have Whiskerwood on Saturday. We're going to have Victoria 3 on Sunday, continuing the Qing run. We're on Monday going to have Humankind return. We might finish up Humankind next time. We might not win, but we might finish up Humankind. What I suspect may be the case, if I can't get the fame rolling, we'll end up in second. We'll still be on the podium. Prefer to win, but we're going to do our best. But Humankind will be on Monday. Tuesday will be Songs of Six if we finish Shadow Empire, or Shadow Empire if we haven't. And then Wednesday will probably still be Whiskerwood. Yeah, next Wednesday will probably still be Whiskerwood. And that probably means next Thursday... Well, next Thursday we'll either be finishing up the Qing run, or the run will be done. So that's the upcoming schedule. I'll go ahead and repeat that for Twitch as soon as I do the outro here, because I'm not sure if Twitch got all of that scheduled, but I'll go over that again. If you're watching this on YouTube, because I do stream this live to Twitch under the username Willcall, that's the schedule of things that have been recorded over the last couple days. So if you can't wait for the next part to come up on any of those series, you can probably sneak over to Twitch and watch the VOD, because the VOD does save for 14 days. With that, I'm going to wish you all the best of luck and a good time. Catch you all in the next part, and bye for now.